Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy, hello.
Hi, Peg.
Hey there. Ian McNulty, food writer for the Times Picayune, New Orleans Advocate. Hello, Mr. Ian. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi. Doug MacCash, who covers the arts and culture scenes, also for the Times Picayune, New Orleans Advocate. Hello, Doug.
How are you?
Hey, and Alan Smason of theatercriticism.com and the Crescent City Jewish News. Hello, Alan. And Poppy, a brand new place to dine in Mid-City.
Oh, I am so excited about this new spot. I've been watching it since the construction started, and what we're talking about is Treps, which a lot of people would know because since 1940 or so, it was a filling station and a body shop. This is the last stop on the Lafitte Greenway on Bienville Street. And my favorite guys love that Chef Jerry Mixon, and his partner, Danny Akers, who have combined their efforts. You will probably remember them from Cafe Amelie. And it is all that delicious food and more. But you've got to go in to appreciate the space. They actually put in 10-year-old live water oaks from the North Shore. And they left so many of the classic filling station touches, but the doors roll up, lots of very safe outdoor dining space, and it's beautiful indoors and out. The food is fabulous. The hot wings in Thai chili sauce, yummy. They're baked oysters. They've got truffle fries. Anybody who's ever had Jerry Mixon's gumbo once will never forget it, and it's back, along with burgers and salads and sloppy joes. And they keep that gas station theme going with, like, the appetizers are referred to as tune-ups, and you can get your lubrication at the full-service bar. And it's been so popular, they're already adding outdoor space. When I was there yesterday, more big screen TVs, more seating outdoors for tomorrow's big LSU game. So I can tell you, if you want to look at football, there isn't a bad seat in the house.
Now, you can dine indoors as well, so it's indoor and outdoors. Is that correct?
There's some limited indoor seating, but they're expanding, they're tenting. It's incredible what's going on. You got to go check it out.
I used to get my car fixed at Treps, so there you go. It's right. We should point out that I think it's Alexander, but it's next to Chisasi's. Okay, Clessy's,
Yes,
not
correct.
Chisasi's, Clessy's. Okay,
Listen,
you can tell I'm a New
that's
Orleans
where it
girl. Chisasi's, right? Meat. But anyway, Clessy's. So that's where it is. Well, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Poppy. And over
Thanks,
to Ian.
Ben.
Talk about, like, one of New Orleans and America's most historic restaurants has good news, huh?
Well, Antoine's oldest restaurant in New Orleans, and also important to point out, oldest restaurant in America, continuously run by the same family, which is very significant because the family now, the fifth generation in charge, they've been steering Antoine's for a few years now, and they've been trying through the years to develop some changes, some adaptations, some sort of next chapter things in the Antoine story. And as Antoine's reopens this weekend, some of that is starting to manifest on the plate. Peggy, Antoine's has been closed for 6 months. That's the longest span that it's ever been closed. Even after Katrina, it was able to open by New Year's Eve, so 4 months after. So in that 6 months, the restaurant seems to have been quiet. It's all boarded up, but it has not been idle. The team here has been at work, including Chef Rich Lee, who took over here just about a year ago, slowly working up some new ideas for the menus. And people who walk in, they're going to find the same old Antoine's, the glittering front dining room, the dark annex room, their favorite private dining rooms in back. But Peggy, what they've done with the menu is really interesting. It is basically the result of several years of work that is slowly being unveiled now. Now, I'll tell you, the hours are limited. It's just the weekends right now to get started, as you see many of the grand restaurants are doing. They're just doing some weekend service to get going. And their menu is quite small. If you know anything about Antoine's, it has this immense menu, right? This catalog of great classic Creole dishes. But what they're doing now is they're starting with a limited menu that has some Antoine's classics and also some new dishes that are inspired by the traditions that Antoine's has always upheld, but in a way that you would expect to be served in 2020. So, Peggy, I'm talking about dishes that are a little more composed. You know, the plates are full plates instead of your just a la carte steak or fish on the plate. Chef Lee and his team are finishing out those plates, right? There are a lot more fresh touches on their lunch menu, a lot more salads, and those salads aren't just lettuce and tomato. Basically, the family owners here have taken the attitude that in order for Antoine's to continue the traditions it represents for New Orleans, for so many families, it has to modernize the way that it does business. And so what you're seeing right now is the first steps, the act one of that dance between keeping Antoine's a vital institution and the changes that come along to make that happen. It's been very exciting. And I have to say, what they did to install an elevator in Antoine's is an act of engineering brilliance.
Ooh,
those
that's
daunting
big news.
Stairs up to the higher rooms, yes, still there. Now you can take an elevator up. And once you see this elevator, you will feel that this has been part of that building for at least a century.
Oh, that's
it's quite
wonderful.
impressive.
Well, such good news. Thank you so much, Ian. And over to Doug. Doug, you've been talking about Jamnola for a while and reacquaint everybody with it, but I took your advice and I took the ride, if you will. And, and I had so much fun, but set it up for us and then we can share some memories of what it is. First of all, what is it again?
Jamnola is a sort of new style art experience. It's in the Marigny, right beside Noka on Royal Street. And it's a sculptural environment. You go through like a maze of rooms, each designed by an artist. But one of the things that's interesting to me about it is that I'd argue it's sort of a photo experience. And here's what I mean. I think that selfies are the photo of our era. They are the thing that everyone does. And what Jamnola is invented to do is to take you to a place where you can take creative selfies. So oddly, although it's a sculptural environment, it's sort of a photo experience. What'd you think?
I had so much fun. We should point out that each of these rooms, which has its own, flavor, is done by a different local artist. There we go. That, of course, is an homage, to the second line and the wonderful tradition of the second line umbrella. I think that was brilliant. And because it's a still, you can't tell, but they're constantly moving as well. The other thing is at the top, just to kind of give you a little bit of the setting of New Orleans culture, you get to see all in a Mardi Gras Day, which is a documentary that Royce Osborne did. Is aired nationally on PBS and, of course, emanated from WYES. But this was Royce's baby. It really gives you a feeling for the second line and the baby dolls, and what a great way to kick off what's going on. And we miss Royce, who's so talented. But it's a series of many, many rooms, isn't it?
Yes.
This is so funny. The beat goes on.
Gosh, I don't think any institution suffered more because of COVID. They had hoped to open at the time of Jazz Fest to take advantage of that crowd. Instead, they not only were postponed, but they had to redesign in order to accommodate the new, social distancing needs. But they're doing pretty well. According to Johnny Liss, who's one of the developers of it, that they're doing about a third of what he'd hoped in traffic, and that's saying something in our era. They're selling out on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. It's time ticketing, of course, and he thinks they're getting about 1,000 people a week to visit, and I think that's remarkable and good for them. They're going to do a Halloween pop-up inside that we can look forward to from October 27th to 31st.
Yes, and just backing up that sort of gray circle that we saw just a moment ago, that is amazing. It's called Sound Garden, and you go up and you touch it, and it makes music. Like, isn't that wild?
Yeah, Marcus
So
Brown,
fun.
great sound sculptor. That was his, and originally you were supposed to touch it, which
Yes.
of course we can't do anymore.
Well, that's true.
So
Yeah.
there he was redesigning in his living room this, reimagining this sculpture so that now you need to get close to it.
Yes,
but not
yeah,
touch
and
it.
a lot of things we should point out right before what they opened had to be retrofitted.
Yeah, you were supposed to push through a curtain. You were supposed to touch Marcus's sculpture, etc. And
Yeah.
none of that stuff was possible.
By the way, you can talk about selfies. You can get your picture taken on top of the alligator. I did that.
You can do that.
I didn't share that one, But anyway, but no, great fun. And my understanding is that, I guess maybe each year or every few months they're going to try to change out some of the rooms so that if you are a local, you get to go and see something a little bit different as well.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Yeah, so much fun. But once again, all of these are local artists, and quite a Mardi Gras homage too there too. I love that for the smaller groups.
And Johnny Liss mentioned that, and this is probably obvious, but because of COVID, most of their attendance has been local, which was not what they expected in the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah, they need those visitors to make the numbers work. But I'm glad a lot of locals, of course, supported it. And on to Alan, a tried and true over at Rivertown.
Absolutely. Many of us will recall A.R. Gurney's famous love letters, more famously done probably by Nell Nolan than anybody else in New Orleans. Nell recently with Dennis Woltering, and in the past with the late David Stone. Well, the concept's really simple, Peggy. You get two actors, one man, one woman, and they read from the scripts, each writing letters dating back to when they were in the second grade, and basically dealing with a friendship and an extended extramarital affair that goes on for 50 years. Along the way, they have a sharing of love and loss and really a strange commitment to each other that cannot really be explained or undone. Now, A.R. Gurney was a Pulitzer Prize nominated author, not for love letters, but for The Dining Room. He did not win. He lost out to the Sunday in the Park with George with Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine, but he is still a wonderful playwright. And the people that they've got for 4 nights of love letters are 4 different couples. You've got Maria Hefty and Kevin Murphy on October the 1st, Thursday. Friday is going to be Megan Harms and Lucas Harms. Kelly Fucci and Mark Fucci will be on Saturday, October the 3rd. And they're going to end with Hannah Rochelle and Bryce Slocum. Again, love letters at the Rivertown Theaters for the Performing Arts. Go check that out on Minor Street in Kenner. Meanwhile, Peggy, the semester has already started at Loyola University. They have full swing. They're getting all the virtual classes together and all those in person as well. They're actually having plans to have some shows at the Uptown campus. And to discuss that with me will be the new artistic director, Salvatore Mannino, better known as Sal Mannino. You may remember him from The Wedding Singer, possibly when he was in Hairspray at Le Petit. He's returned to basically take over the chairmanship's aid, if you will, for that department. He's the artistic director, and he's recently been involved with many productions of a regional and a national scope, such as Hadestown, and you'll get to hear him talk tonight after Steppin Out on the NOLA Theater Talk show. Finally, JPAS has got a way to celebrate in safe fashion several musicals, some of the musical movies, of course, that we're dealing with, and that's going to be over at the Pontchartrain Center's parking lot. They're going to start off with 42nd Street as Ruby Keeler and Dick Powell move their dancing feet in the flow. They're They're also going to have Alfred Hitchcock's suspenseful 39 Steps, Cary Grant's comedic romp in Arsenic and Old Lace, and they're going to have An American in Paris, which I hope everybody will check out, of course, and finally ended around Halloween time with Ghostbusters.
All right, and the weather hopefully will be working for us now, too, that it's getting a little cooler. And back over to Poppy, and a local coffee shop is becoming quite the hub for something else, too.
Well, you know, it's my favorite dance these days, the pandemic pivot. And that's what you have to do to survive in the world.
Yeah.
And at Coffee Science on South Broad, what a pivot they've done. The first thing that they did to try to help our local economy was everything that they're serving there is made in-house, is fresh, local, all coming from local makers. So they started a Sunday makers market where you can go and there's 8 to 10 vendors. There's a box from Covey Rise. That's from 9 until 11:30 on Sunday mornings. Their expanded menu with the baked goods all done in-house and sandwiches and other delicious things are wonderful. And here's some hot scoop. There's going to be one of the bakers from Bellegarde who was very talented with sourdough bread. And in about 2 weeks, you'll be able to get her fresh bread there. On Fridays, there's an operation, the pop-up Wolf and Swallow. And on Fridays, they're doing charcuterie and wine because there's that beautiful, there's Chef Houla with some of his yummies. And there's that big, beautiful outdoor area that we saw earlier. Tomorrow, this is hot news. Chef Houla is putting on a drag brunch. This is the first one I've heard take place since the pandemic, and there's still seats available, and they're going to do this on the last Saturday of every month. The next one will be Halloween Day, so get your reservations now. And Coffee Science will be serving Saturday brunch on the Saturdays when there isn't the drag brunch. And they're open there over on South Broad every day from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. You've got to go check out their delicious pandemic pivot.
Okay, thank you so much, Poppy. And moving over to Ian, there's good food everywhere, including Airline Highway, right?
Well, Peggy, to continue on the pivot theme, you know, as we've seen so many restaurants reopen in one form or another, many restaurants have carried on through all of this with takeout. In some cases, takeout only, or in some cases, they've made takeout a major part of their operation. One thing we took a look at this week in the paper was the takeout window, how some restaurants have added these or sometimes revived them or transformed them to adapt to service in these times. And a great example here on Airline Drive, as you said, in Kenner, near the old airport terminal, it's Queen's Cuisine. This is a soul food restaurant that's just fantastic. But in normal times, it's a very small room. It's snug. It's intimate. It's wonderful. It's part of it. But Ramona Young, who runs it with her family, she doesn't feel it's sufficient to serve people safely during COVID. So she had this window installed. They cut a window in the side of the building there leading into the kitchen. And when she serves you dishes like this, the seafood stew with the crab and the shrimp and the sausage and the spice, you can't even believe this, a bountiful plate like this will fit through the window. But there it is. It's Queen's Cuisine. They're carrying on in that way. All takeout, all through that window. Just fantastic value, great flavor, great character. So New Orleans, right? But across town, we've seen this manifest in different ways. This is Junior's on Harrison in Lakeview, a restaurant that's fairly new. They started off with a takeout window here for their ice cream shop. They just figured they would sell ice cream cones and cups out the window here for their neighbors in Lakeview. Well, during the shutdowns, it became the main portal for all service. Everything that they packed up went out that window. Now the restaurant is back open for regular dine-in service, but they discovered that a lot of people still would prefer takeout. So they're calling in their orders and picking it up, and they say that having that takeout window has made a real difference. So, you know, different styles of doing this, different blends. Gabrielle restaurant, which got back open over the summer doing its culinary menu, was serving it through what they call the Duck Hut. This is a little window that Mary and Greg Saunier, the proprietors here, installed. That window goes right to the kitchen, so they're boxing up your dinner, walking 5 steps, passing it through that cheerful-looking awning right there, and people are picking it up. It's not quite drive-through, but it's close enough. You can pull your car down and pick it up. And Gabrielle will resume dining room service shortly, but they're going to continue with the takeout, too. It's been working out for a lot of people. They seem to love it. So it adds a lot of flexibility. One last example, Angelo Brocato. This place has been around for a century plus, 115-year-old Italian institution there in Mid-City. You know, usually you go in, you press your nose up to the glass, you want to see what gelato you're going to get. They're open for dine-in service under new restrictions, but they also installed this takeout window so you can just walk up. If somebody happened to forget their mask, for instance, it's a good option for them, or just to pick up your cannolis to go in a rush. So it's a safety measure that's actually adding a lot of flexibility for the operations. And if there's anything that these restaurants and operators can use right now, it's a little versatility and flexibility.
Absolutely.
So check them out.
Thank you, Ian. And back over to Doug, a Central City pocket park with a lot of meaning.
Yes, indeed. I want to invite people to go and find this outdoor art exhibit. It's wonderful. It's at the corner of LaSalle and 2nd Streets, and it's called the SCLC Memorial Parkway Pavilion. It's dedicated to the Southern Christian Leadership Council, a very important civil rights organization that was founded just a block away at the New Zion Baptist Church in 1957. And what's so wonderful about this as an art exhibit is that it has 2 characters. It's a sunlit park with a pathway designed by Concordia Architects through it that's painted cardinal red. Very upbeat, a walk in the park, right? But then studded along the way are these cutout paintings by artist Jessica Strahan that are very, very compelling, very touching. Strahan likes to use deep blue tones to tap into sublime emotion. She says that what she's feeling always has to do with her painting, regardless of what she's painting. And in this case, it couldn't work better. The contrast of the 2 characters of this park is just wonderful. You'll find along the way, portraits of Martin Luther King, Reverend Medgar Evers, Ralph Abernathy, A.L. Davis, and several others who were all members of the Southern Christian Leadership Council.
Yeah. Yes, it really is so well done, and it's tiny. It's fairly intimate, isn't it?
Yes, it's very small. It's very small, and it's not new. It's been around for a couple of years. They sometimes have to take down some of the painted sculptures and refurbish them and put them back up. Ultimately, I'm told. By the way, this was produced by the Felicity Street Redevelopment Incorporated nonprofit organization. Okay.
Yeah, so well done, too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And thank you very much. And back over to Alan. Alan, with some news tidbits, little theater news here.
Well, yeah, actually, in 2018, Peggy, playwright Ariadne Blade was commissioned to write a play about the life of Yvonne Bechet, a woman who was one of the very first black police recruits to the New Orleans Police Department and who rose on to become the deputy chief under Superintendent Warren Woodfork. The result was Black and Blue. This is based on a series of interviews conducted by Matt Schwartzman. This 2-act was actually put on at Dillard in 2018, but the intersection today of the Black Lives Matter movement and again the Blue Lives Matter pushback in support of police could never be more appropriate than at this time. Sadly, Yvonne passed away this past July. She married into the family, of course, of very renowned jazz pioneer Sidney Bechet. And, of course, one of his better-known compositions was titled Black and Blue. So what better title than to have for this
That's
show?
A great song.
Which will be live-streamed. It'll be live-streamed coming up on Saturday, October the 3rd, over the HowlRound Commons and also simultaneously cast on the theatercriticism.com Facebook page that I started, and that'll begin at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, I'll also have the playwright Ariana Blade, the particular producer that I mentioned, Matt Schwarzman, and a couple of the actors. We're hoping to get Troy Poplis and one of the ladies who works in that show for Black and Blue. That'll be on my show, which will be on Friday night, coming up a week from tonight. Meanwhile, last Monday, I was very proud to be able to put on a show which was Amy Judith Rubin's world premiere of Interstate 81, a story set in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Abington, Virginia in 1972. Among the actors was Ken Connor, who originated the role of Pa. He also was joined with Jen Pagan, who played Emily, his daughter. Jaquan Monroe Henderson played the grandson, Andy. Rhodes was the lost trucker boyfriend, Andrew. You can still see the work online right here, where you can see it at the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, or possibly on the YouTube channel that I have as well. And finally, Peggy, I would be remiss if I didn't say that right around the time that Broadway was getting ready to close down, Six, which is about the Six Wives of Henry VIII that was so popular in London and getting ready to make its Broadway debut on March the 12th when it was shut down, you're going to be able to see that. Great news is that the 5 of the 6 original members from the original London cast will be in a reunion concert on October the 10th live, and for 72 you can see a first-run Broadway show that has yet to open from the comfort of your own home in your PJs, if you will, and the cost is only $15 American.
Thank you. Time for our quick picks of the week. Poppy.
The New Orleans Culinary and Hospitality Institute is having an incredible Cooking for a Cause auction, private cooking classes with Emerald, Donald Link, business consulting with Danny Meyer. The bidding begins September 30th and runs through October 14th. And bravo to Ian for that front page article today about to-go drinks. Cole Newton started a petition on change.org, and people can go to our website and vote to bring back the Go Cup.
Okay, Ian.
Hogs of the Cause didn't happen this year, but the cause continues, and the teams behind it are still cooking. You can find 10 of them cooking together on Sunday at Juniors on Harrison. We mentioned their takeout window earlier. That's in Lakeview. All 10 teams contributing to these packs that you can pick up to go. Great stuff to watch, to have on hand when you watch the game. But I predict this will sell out, so if you're interested, call now.
Okay, Doug.
Go to the Contemporary Art Center on Camp Street and see Make America What America Must Become. Based on a quote by James Baldwin, it's made up of Gulf South artists, and it is both topical and visually fascinating. Admission is $10.
Okay, thank you so much. And finally, Alan, real quick.
2 quick picks. Fame, the 30th anniversary show, is going to be shown starting today and on through Sunday at 2 p.m. The Shows Must Go On YouTube channel. And congratulations to the LPO, the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. They're going to have the Orpheum session starting up, a season subscription, $115 to see this virtually. And Peggy, I will see you at the theater.
All right, thank you. And WYES at 916 Navarre in Lakeview, of course, is serving as a drop-off point for groceries for victims of Hurricane Laura from September 28th to October the 2nd. Go to WYES.org to see what they need. Next Friday, Bruce Sunpie Barnes will be performing, kicking off a series of concerts at the Best Off Sculpture Garden. Go to NOMA.org. And the Friends of City Park present a different kind of Ghosts in the Oaks event this year. They are featuring a Halloween kit bag full of decorations, balloons, baking kit, from Dickie Brennan's Acorn, all kinds of stuff. Go to friendsofcitypark.com and click on events for that. There's even a costume crawl, too. So check it out when you pick it up. And thank you all so very much for watching. Good night.
Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich. This program is sponsored in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support the arts and culture in the greater New Orleans area.